I see something that says YouTube. We're good. All right, we're good.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to Benjamin E. May's GoTeam meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noted. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the GoTeam. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the GoTeam, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of Benjamin E. May's GoTeam to order at 5:28. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Um, okay, so I have, I guess if you could, as I call your name, say here or raise your hand, either or. Kimberly Jenkins,
Here.
Mr. Ramon Garner,
I'm here, present.
Elizabeth Raymond,
Present.
Rejoice. Can you please tell me your last name?
It's Jones.
Jones,
Present.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Present.
Okay, Pamela Bryant, I'm present. Andrew Dunn, present.
Present.
Okay. Kajara Anderson,
Present.
thank you. And Jasmine Smith,
Here.
thank you. Kia Cody. Okay, and Regia Kirkpatrick. Okay, so question. Am I just calling the GoTeam members' names, or am I supposed to also include those people on here that are not a part of the GoTeam?
Just the GoTeam members' names.
Thank you.
Everybody
Okay.
else is
Okay.
just to watch.
All right, thank you.
you.
So we have all of those in attendance. Thank you very much.
The team
And
will, oh,
I'm sorry, excuse me for just for the record, Miss Kirkpatrick is just in support of the team. She's not
Okay.
actually a team member.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant.
You're
The team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Ms. Bryant, is there a quorum present?
Yes, there is a quorum present.
We do. Okay, excuse me. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
I motion to approve the agenda. Yeah. Third.
Ms. Bryant, did you get those?
First Rejoice and then approve, and second Raymond. Thank you.
Any abstentions, please stay abstained. I did that wrong. Okay. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. Excuse me. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? If there are no further corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minute? All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Our first action item on the agenda is to appoint a student representative. Do I have a motion to approve this item? Which our student representative I believe we want to appoint Tamaya Price, Miss Tamaya Price. She's currently Miss Mays and a student of the SGA.
Can you please spell her first name for me?
Yes, it's TomiyA Price, Price.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I motion to approve it.
Yes, please. Excuse me, you all. Yes, Ms. Raymond. You can do a motion. So we are officially, I move that we nominate to appoint Tamaya Price as our student representative to serve on the 2024-2025 GoTeam. Can I get a motion to approve?
Yay, I motion to approve it, so.
I
Can I get
second
a
the
second?
motion.
Okay, thank you. Our fourth item, action item, we're going to table this item for today, and it was to appoint a community partner today. Can I get a motion? Do I do a motion here? Is this a motion? We vote on this? Do we vote
So-
to table?
Yeah, you would vote to table. And first off, let me introduce myself. My name's Diane Jacoby, and I'm the school governance liaison. I'm here to help. Just to be clear, Principal Garner does not have a nominee because you will be able to maintain quorum.
Yes.
No, we don't.
You don't have a, okay.
No,
So
we don't.
yes, you would table that until the next meeting. So you would ask the team if there's any objection to tabling that action item. And
Thank you.
so long as nobody has one, you can say hearing none, we will move on.
Thank you. Do we have any objections to table the issue of appointing the community member for this meeting? Okay, thank you. We will now move to discussion items on our agenda.
Right. All right, good evening, everybody. Ramon Garner here again. Very proud principal here at Mays High School. Let's dive right in. All right, so here is our strategic plan through 2025. And at the very top, it has our most up-to-date mission, our vision, and what our goals were back in 2021 and where we want to be by 2025. So the percentage of students who graduated in 4 years were increased from 88.8 in June to 91% in June of 2024. Literacy, we want to increase the students scoring developing and plus on the end of course assessment by 5%. This was by the end of last year. Increase the students scoring development on the EOC assessment and numeracy as well. And then we wanted our attendance rate to increase by 3% from 80 to 83%. And then you see our, our APS strategic priorities and initiatives. So they fall into buckets, which is fostering academic excellence, building a culture of support, student support, equipping and empowering leaders and staff, and then creating a system of school support. So you can see, number one, we had increased our graduation rate, increase our percentage of students showing proficiency in milestone courses, strengthen the implementation of international baccalaureate, improve the whole child system of supports, utilize flexible learning, retain and continue, to develop high performing staff, build teacher capacity, and then provide wraparound services. And then, I won't read all of our school strategies for doing that, but they're all listed as well. And this information is, as always, on the website. Next slide. So last year, this is how we ranked our strategic priorities. We said first, we wanted to retain and continue to develop high-performing faculty. That was the number one thing we wanted to do. Second, we wanted to build teacher capacity to support an increase in mastery for students. Third, we voted that we wanted to strengthen the implementation of International Baccalaureate, IB. Fourth, utilize flexible learning tools, technology integration, and target instruction to personalized learning for all students. 5, implement whole child systems. 6, provide wraparound services. 7, increase milestones. And 8, graduation rate. So these are the 8 strategic priority initiatives that we just saw. And so essentially we took those from the strategic plan and we ranked them to say what's most important to us. And this was last year. All right, next slide. So continuing the strategic plan and continuous improvement plan. So again, everything starts, and you think about it like this, everything starts with that strategic plan, that plan that's from 2021 to 2025, which is actually this year, where we want to be. All right, so everything starts from there. From there, we build our continuous improvement plan, which is the plan that, we submit every year to the district to say, here's what our focus will be. And then our key indicators come from that. So again, increased graduation rate was at the top. We said our goal was by May 2025, we will achieve a 92% graduation rate, which will be a 3% increase. We said the key indicator for that was course grades, credits, and credits each year. For increasing the percentage of students showing proficiency in milestone courses, which is one of the most important things, our goal was developing plus, proficient plus. And when I say developing plus, that means students who score, there are 4 areas to score on the Georgia milestone. Beginning, which is the lowest level, meaning students need the most support. Developing are students who are almost at proficiency, but not quite there. Proficient students are, proficiency is next. Those are students who are performing at grade level at a level of proficiency. And then distinguished are students who are scoring at the highest level. Those are the 4 bands. So when you see developing plus, we're setting our goals for kids. We don't want anybody to be in the beginning level. We want our goals to be for students scoring at a developing and higher. And so that's what you see. It says developing plus and proficient plus increases in American literature, biology, U.S. history, and algebra 1. And our indicators for doing that will be growth on the MAP fall and winter assessments, and then our district comment and summative assessments. And then lastly, by May 2025, our CCRPI attendance, that's the percentage of students who miss less than 10% of the school year. So the easiest way to do it is there's 180 days for students. Any student that misses 10%, which would be 18 days, counts negatively on our CCRPI attendance. So we want all of our kids to miss less than 10% of the accounted school days. Some of the indicators for that would be monthly attendance rate and also out of school and in school suspension. Next slide. Now we want to have a data discussion. Here are our fall MAP scores. And we've taken MAP this year. This must be the most updated ones that we could find. Again, the red indicates student scoring in beginning levels. The orange to yellow are developing. The green is proficient, and distinguished are the numbers at the very end. So you can see the numbers kind of get smaller. We still, at the beginning of the year, we had 40% of our students in the beginning range. Then it kind of increased in the winter, and then it kind of went back to about 40% in the beginning range. And for me as principal, I'm always looking at the red first, because I know that if we're if we're decreasing the amount of students in the beginning, they're falling somewhere in that developing, proficient, distinguished range, which we want kids to be proficient. But when there's so many kids in the beginning level, that's always a focus for me, and one of the first things I look at when I'm analyzing data. Who are the kids that's really close to being developing? Who are the kids that's really close to being distinguished? And what are our, I saw the word, what are our detailed plans or individualized plans for those specific students? How do we, curtail the lessons to get them where they need to be? Next slide. All right, so here are our actual results from last year. So for American literature, again, we saw a 3.7% increase in student scoring, developing plus. We saw a 4.5% increase in proficient students. So if you look at the bottom, I'm looking at the first box in the white were spring of 2023, and then in the blue are the spring of 2024. So again, we saw increase. Not as much as we wanted to see, but we saw increase in American literature. And that's an area where we really have to, do a whole lot better in. That's an 11th grade course. So we really, want to push even harder. Happy with the results that we got, but we know we can do better. For U.S. history, we pretty much stayed stagnant. There's a slight increase in the percentage of students who score developing plus and a percentage of students who score proficient plus. But look at biology. We did really well in biology. And our math scores are embargoed, but we did really well in math as well. It's kind of similar to what we did in biology, but we'll wait till those have been officially released. But that was a lot of good growth in biology, which we want to continue that, all while increasing in U.S. history and American literature. Next.
Quick question, Principal Garner, are these proficient and developing scores measured against all APS students, all MAIS students, or all students who take the ELC?
Oh, it's all students in the state.
Okay.
Yeah, all students. So and it is a cut score. So the state says you score this number on one of the end of course assessments, and you are a proficient learner or you are a developing learner. So it's all run by our state. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. All right. Some of the glows and grows. Some of the glows there was a 5% increase in the percentage of ninth graders who scored in the average and higher quartiles on the math assessment. We received our IB-MYP authorization, and we're on track to receive our diploma program authorization this year. As a matter of fact, we're about to schedule our authorization visit here within the next couple of weeks. Our CCRPI attendance increased to 43.8% compared to 39.6%. So again, that was growth there. We're on track to show a lot of growth in that area as well this year. However, still not where we want to be. The graduation rate continued to increase. We hit 88.7 last year, which again, graduation rate is really important. But I'll be honest, the content mastery is even more, because that tells me that students are being proficient in their content area. So all of it's important, but content mastery is what I really want to push. And then our ELC scores increased from developing plus and proficient plus. So we show growth, which we just talked about. Some of the growths in school year 23-24, there was a 4% decrease in the percentage of ninth grade students scoring average or higher quartiles on map reading. So, when our superintendent comes in and says we have to have a focus on literacy, I agree with him. He's right. We have to do more to make sure that our students are reading at a higher level. in all of our courses. Another growth is the percentage of students with 4+ incidents is 18.4% in school year 23-24, which was up approximately 50% from the prior year. So I think this year we've put a lot of parameters in place, and thus far our discipline numbers have really decreased based off some of the things we've put in place. In 23, the CCRPI rate was 22.04 for accelerated enrollment. And accelerated enrollment was 46.5 and pathway completion was 69.3. I'll be happy to report to you that all of those numbers increased last year when we got the final scores from 2024. Our pathway completers, our advanced placement, and also our students who were EOPA end of pathway assessments. And then the big thing we talked a lot about last year, a big growth for us was we are an additional targeted support school, ATSI, for special education. All right, next slide. So team, tell me, based off that, what do you notice? What do you want? What are your wonderings? And what additional questions do you have?
I can start.
Okay.
Some things that I've noticed and maybe have some follow-up questions. There were some additional resources that I can't remember exactly what they were that we allocated towards the teachers to sort of help them and support. I don't know if it was like an extra person to come in or it was, stop me if you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I think for the percentages that have gone up, I wonder if that has something to do with it, is just having more support for the teachers or more support for the teachers to understand how to support the students. There was something, I'll come back with exactly what I'm saying more efficiently. Okay. The wonderings are more now if the achievement gap is a literacy gap, and we're going to start to put more resources towards that way. What kind of levers are we going to use to support teachers with that? Because I know they're already doing so much, but maybe there's some other things, maybe tech can help. I don't know. I'm thinking about what kind of levers we can do. And then the additional questions, I'm going to ask that once I go back to think about what happened last year that kind of helped spike those developing percentages, because maybe we can just investigate of doing more of that.
No. Okay. Any other notices or wonderings?
I just have a question. Do we have in place a plan to work with our seniors to make sure that we do increase that graduation rate? And if we have something in place, can you kind of just give us an idea of what we plan on doing?
Yes. So a couple things. Graduation rate have a lot of, key factors, primarily being, you have a group of students who are in school, who are here every day, right? Those kids are most often our students that are fine. We know that they're going to, graduate from high school. And you have a group of students who may need additional supports, such as a Phoenix Academy, which are students who may need credit recovery. So that plays a role because you have to monitor and make sure that those students who may be trying to take more classes in order to graduate, you have to monitor those students. And then you have what's called your unknown students, students who are on a dropout list. And so as a school, you have to do your due diligence to find those students if they've enrolled somewhere else or if they really did stop going to school, and what supports are you going to put in place to support them either coming back to school or support them in, whatever they may be doing. So it's really 3 buckets to that. So we have a senior team that works on that, right? We have a senior counselor, We have a senior graduation coach. We have a senior assistant principal, and then all of the other support systems, that's there. As a matter of fact, we have the students who are over at Phoenix who are doing credit recovery. We'll have a meeting with them next week because, again, we have to monitor and make sure that they're doing what they need to do in order to graduate. And essentially, the graduation rate comes down to a fraction, right? We have 350 students that's in a cohort. And, you may have 300 of those students in the building or 305 who are doing well and who may graduate, right? And then, the students over at Phoenix, you may have 20 kids over there trying to do credit recovery. I'm just throwing numbers out. So if that denominator is 350 and you graduate 300, then that's the math that essentially the state does to give you your graduation rate. So that's kind of how it goes. Our plan is to monitor all of those systems, right? We meet, they meet as a team each week to go over that. I meet with my supervisor. We met last week to talk about, where we are in the graduation rate process and how many students are on track to graduate, how many are not on track, and what are we doing to support the students who are not on track at that time. And so it's just an ongoing process throughout the entire year. At the end of the year, we have to do a final checklist that we turn into the state. That's it, so again, all the students that's there, we know where they are, they're good. All of the ones that may be doing credit recovery, if they made it, then they will be good. But we have to report that to the state. Do we have any students that's doing homeschool? Do we have any students that's doing other programs? We have to show documentation for where they are. And so that's how the graduation rate really works. It's not so much about just the kids who are in the building, but also the other kids who started the cohort with those kids in the 9th grade. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes, thank you.
I have a question, or wondering. We're talking a lot about seniors, but I feel like I'm a type of person who doesn't wait till you become a senior to figure out where you are in graduation and credits. And so, as a matter of fact, at the end of the year, I asked my son to meet with his counselor to see where he was, because reading on Infinite Campus, and then I even ordered an official transcript. Me as a parent, I can't figure out
Right.
what credits he has, how many he needs, where he needs to finish. And so I'm wondering, even when we talk about graduation rates, if that's something that we can even start earlier as a junior, because what we don't want to do is wait to, that last semester and start doing credit recovery or, things like that. So to be proactive, what are some things that we can be doing to make sure that we increase the graduation rate? And like I said, and make it easier for parents to understand where you are and if you are on track or not.
Yeah, great question. And I think the things that you said are where we start, right? So it is, we do things internally to make sure that our students know for themselves. That's one thing that we definitely preach to them is, for lack of a better term, preach, but is knowing how many credits they have. But we also do things like we give kids their transcript, right? And we show them how to read a transcript. We also, students have transcript audits with their counselor. So it's one counselor per grade level, and it's over 300 kids. So they have to work their way to have a meeting with every child so every student knows. I think some of the things that we could do with parents is, we got curriculum night coming up, which I know Ms. Smith is going to be talking about, is, getting as many of our parents here so we can inform them and having sessions with them about how to read transcripts, not just at the state of the school address, but just information that we're giving you that's always there. Can you find that information on our website? Is the information easy for parents to be able to access so that when you ask your child, then you're in the know. So
Yeah,
those are
because
some.
we know those don't always translate to home. So it's happening in the school, but it don't always translate to home. So yeah.
That's right. Got you.
Yeah.
Good point and good question. Ms.
Yeah,
Smith.
and I also know that we talked a lot about improvement in academic scores and graduation, but I also want us, and you and I have had this conversation before, it's about our safety and security around our students and teachers um in the school. And so I want us to put that I didn't see it in your presentation, but I want to be mindful of, something that we can do going forward, because I do think safety and security for teachers and students translate to how they perform in classrooms.
Absolutely. Got it. Good point. Any other notices or wonderings or questions?
I just have one question about is it a college program that they're adding, like the IB? Can you kind of just tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so guys, we got a lot of great things happening in all of those areas. If you're talking about dual enrollment, we did add dual enrollment professors here. Shout out to Ms. Jacoby, but we did add adjunct professors to Mays. So we teach our students 1101 English and also college algebra here at
Nice.
school. So our cohort, so when you talk about CCRPI and you're talking about the amount of students who have dual enrollment access, that number triples now because they don't have to leave. They can still leave, but they don't have to leave to get that information. Great question around safety and security. And there's a lot of things that's happening as well. First of all, our discipline numbers this year to start out are doing really well. Kids are doing really well at school. It's not as many altercations, whatsoever. And the climate, is one that is getting to a place to where, that I like, right? We never can relax and we can never, because we're dealing with teenagers, we're dealing with children, and they are kids. And inevitably, sometimes they make bad decisions. But I am right now, I don't want to say happy, but I feel better about the climate that our students are displaying right now. I think some of the things that attribute to that is the work that Miss Jenkins is doing with our whole child group and our mentors, and being strategic with making sure that our most at-risk kids have somebody. But even outside, I don't know if you noticed, every day when you pull up, well, I've purchased an additional card. I have an additional support person that his sole purpose, our job outside. I mean, his sole purpose is to ride our campus all day and to make sure that we just have extra eyes rolling around all day, that our kids are safe. Pretty much at every door there is I have people watching the cameras too, and these are things that we have in place just to make sure that nobody is coming up on our campus and that we can see what's happening at all times. We did add an additional officer. We do have a pretty solid process. I think APS has done a great job with getting us the eval systems. So our students, not the funnest thing, but it is a safety thing. So our students do go through the screening process every day on both ends. And that's a pretty solid system as well, just to make sure that we don't have any weapons or anything on our campus or inside the school. Every student goes through that, and they can't get into school without going through that process. So some of those systems and structures are, we do have in place. Again, it's one day at a time. It's communication with our parents and making sure that I communicate to you what's happening, what we're doing, and what we need from parents. Because we're all in this together, and it's going to take all of us moving in the same direction. So even though those things aren't on the slides, and I agree with you, we need to add them. I wanted to just say a little bit about what we're doing, safety and security wise.
No, I do really appreciate your communication. I do. It's a lot sometimes because they call in both phones, emailing and texting, but I do appreciate it.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Any other wonderings or questions? This is good. All right. Next slide. All right. So this is our process, our timeline for our Go team. You see fall 2021 to summer to August to now we're in September, moving into, October, November and December. So we should be utilizing current data with the Go team to review and possibly update our strategic plan, priorities and the plan. Next slide. Any other questions before we move to the next thing? All right. Discussion optional school uniforms. Now we currently don't have a uniform policy here at Mays. We had somewhat of a uniform policy at the middle school that I was, that I come from, but we don't have one at Mays. So I want to read what the district says about this in 2023-2024 school year. The APS Board of Education updated the district's dress code policy. As part of the update, starting with the 2025-26 school year, if a school wishes to maintain or explore implementing an optional school uniform, it must go through an engagement process and have a vote as outlined below. All right, so we can only look at high school because we're high school. It says schools' uniforms are adopted, upon the agreement of the principal, the Go team, which is this body, and elected student government, which is our SGA. If the school does not have an elected student government, then a majority vote must be secured from the student body to adopt a school uniform. All right, optional school uniform. All right.
What does that mean? Optional. Like once it's in place, they can still choose not to wear their uniform?
That's my understanding. And they wouldn't be able to be penalized for that. Yeah. All right. Requirements. And this is our dress code policy from the district. A top of non-see-through fabric, a bottom of non-see-through fabric, shoes, undergarments that are not visible. Restrictions, no words or symbols that are gang-related, sexually subjective, obscene, or promote illegal behavior. Nothing associated with alcohol, illegal drugs, or tobacco. No flip-flops, athletic slides, or footwear that doesn't support the front and back of the foot. So that's adopted from our district. We have one district-wide dress code adopted by the Atlanta Board of Education. School-specific dress codes may not contradict board policy. All right. So examples of problematic school-specific dress code provisions. These are problematic things. I want to say no baggy pants, no dresses, no tube tops, no Crocs, dress in good taste, no sweatpants. All of these things are not, they're not going to be supported by the district, by our district. All right. Next slide. So schools may choose to adopt an optional school uniform effective immediately. At no time will students have their instructional time interrupted or be barred from school or class for declining to wear the optional school uniform. I probably shouldn't give my personal opinion, but I agree with I agree with that. I agree with that. You want kids at school to learn, and we're not trying to find ways to keep them from school, in my opinion. Okay, establish an optional school uniform. The Go team needs to take action on exploring and implementing the optional school uniform. If there's a motion and a second, the Go team may have additional discussion. Once the discussion is concluded, the Go team will vote. If the Go team votes to move forward, then the team should proceed to discuss the school uniform advisory committee. If there's no motion to move forward with exploring an optional school uniform, we will proceed with the next agenda item. Here's what I believe. If we decide as a Go team and a SGA that we want to implement a optional school uniform, it's optional, right? And so, do you want to fight that battle every day for somebody who doesn't have on the uniform? And then if it's optional, how impactful could it be? Would be my question.
No, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go, KJ, you can
No,
go.
I agree. Because it's optional, I don't want resources going in to dealing with something. And like we said, the goal is to get kids to school, and we don't want to put another layer there. However, I love that the football players use wear a uniform, because I also have to look at how our scholars dress these days. And we also, when we talk about wraparound services and that sort of thing, we don't want to have insecure scholars either. And so that's a balancing act. I don't know, but if it's optional, I don't know if it's worth the extra resources.
Good point.
Yeah, and I agree with the point. That's exactly what I was going to hone in on. And also in terms of the equity aspect of it, because if some scholars don't have the access to purchase uniform, and it's also something that it's not a battle that we're necessarily picking, and our uniform policy in place now, or dress code, I should say, policy, it does really touch base on everything in terms of how the scholars should be dressing. The most that we could say is kind of like our maize apparel that we have even for staff, that if scholars did want to purchase that out of their, if their parents wanted to purchase it for them so they can wear the sweatshirts, things like that, that's an option that's available to them. It's on the website. They can purchase it through the sports team, those who are not in sports, so that if they did want to align with a uniform, so to speak, they can do that. But if it's not being enforced, then our dress code policy, which is in fact enforced, is sufficient, I think.
I just wonder, are they just afraid of being sued? Because this, from a bottom up approach, I think a lot of distractions, and there'll be a lot of, I would say, good things that'll come out of just having a uniform and not making it optional, and just it's not even me thinking this, it's actually data. Schools that have uniforms typically do better because of all the things, that whole list of what people can't do can absolutely be just disregarded when you have a standard uniform. But I'm just curious to why they made it optional, and there's so many other things that are non-consequential that aren't optional. So I'm just maybe it's, maybe they'll be sued. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of. But is there something that we can bring up to the cluster meeting to say, well, can schools choose to make this non-optional? Because if, I don't see another reason why.
I think that the option piece comes from the board, and so yeah, of course you could talk about it with in the cluster meeting, and maybe have the representatives take it back to the board to maybe revisit, but that's coming from our Board of Education.
Who we pay their taxes for. So I would still be interested to know why they made that decision. Just now, I'm really now interested. So I'll just if everyone's okay with it, just send a question just on behalf, why is this an optional thing? And what data do they have to prove that it should be, outside of they don't want to be sued?
Gotcha. Yep. Absolutely. Ms. Jones, yes, you can ask any questions you would like to. Sure. All right. So the question at the top is, the GoTeam needs to take action and vote on exploring and implementing an optional school uniform. I know I don't get a vote, but my opinion would be kind of like what we said before. If it's optional, then it's not worth trying to enforce something like that. It's going to take up a lot of time.
Hey, Mr. Garner, this is Ms. Smith. I agree with you. If it's optional, it's not going to make any difference from what we're seeing every day.
Right. So, Ms. Jenkins, I'll turn that over to you. Ms.
Okay,
Jacoby, what do we do what do we do? Do we,
so we have to go through the process of voting whether we want to move forward or not.
all right.
Okay.
Got this. Go ahead.
Go team, we have an important decision to make regarding the continuation or implementation of an optional school uniform. Our goal today is to first decide whether we wish to move forward with this initiative. If we vote in favor of maintaining or exploring the establishment of an optional school uniform, we will then discuss the formation of an advisory committee to help implement and manage the process. If we vote against maintaining or exploring the establishment of an optional school uniform, the school will not have a school uniform in 2025-26, and we will proceed to the next agenda item. Thank you, Principal Garner, for sharing the background information. Now we can decide if we want to maintain or explore implementing an optional school uniform. This vote will determine if we move forward with this idea. Is there a motion to maintain or explore implementing an optional school uniform?
So sorry, really quick. Ms. Jacoby, if we vote no and certain things are changed throughout the year, does that exclude us from ever changing that vote
No,
because we
you
have
could all,
elections?
you could bring it back up if you wanted.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion to maintain or explore implementing an optional school uniform? Okay. There is no motion. This means Go Team does not want to maintain or explore implementing an optional school uniform at this time. We will now proceed to the next item on our agenda. So we'll now move to the informational items, which starts with Principal Garner, your principal report.
Okay. All right. So, I always want to take this opportunity so am I talking about the leveling right now, Kirkpatrick? Or yeah, we can start here. All right. So we spoke about this last time. We did have to level. Our projected enrollment was 1,378 students. At the 15-day count, which is always tricky, our enrollment was 1,331. Of course, our enrollment is up higher than that now. But at that moment, we were 47 students shy, which had us have a budget adjustment of about $163,698. We did lose one teacher as a result of this, and three paraprofessionals who we did lose. Any questions about that? All right, next slide. Okay, yeah. All right. Additional information items, cluster advisory team report. Next, is that a slide?
In this part, you can go ahead and give your principal report, Mr. Garner.
Oh, got it. Okay. So again, just want to take this opportunity to kind of let you know some of the things that's happening in the school, and so that you can spread the word. First thing is we're excited about the opportunity. We have 10 foreign exchange students coming from Nuremberg, Germany, here to Mays to live with 10 host families. So we're excited about that. We have the Atlanta City Council and the mayor's office involved. We're going to take the kids to have a big dinner down at City Hall before they leave. They're here to learn more about our election process. So they'll get some experiences here. They'll get to visit some attractions here in Atlanta. And next year, our students who are here will go to Nuremberg, Germany, and live with those students. So excited about that opportunity for our kids. Grandparents' Day was last week, and boy, did we have a lot of grandparents to show up, more than we expected. I think last year we had a big turnout and we had it in our skybox. This year we took it to the small gym and we had over 400 grandparents show up, which was a beautiful thing to see. I said next year we have to do it by grade level because the grandparents definitely come out, but we were really excited about our grandparents' day. This week we will have a partnership breakfast. So we have so many people, 100 Black men of Atlanta, 100 Black women, people in the mayor's office, Shirley Franklin, Andrea Boone, Caesar Mitchell, a lot of Mays alumni who give back and pour into the school. So we're going to take our time on this Thursday and have a partnership brunch just to say thank you to all of our partners. So we're excited about that. That'll happen this Thursday. Last week, was that last week or week before last? Andrea Boone and Shirley Franklin took about 80 of our students down to Florida A&M for a college tour. So that was a beautiful thing to see. Keisha Lance Bottoms was here and she was able to come and speak to our students. So that exposure was a beautiful thing as well. We took a couple students down to City Hall this past week in honor of Shirley Franklin, um, um, because they are trying to do a naming committee. I think they're trying to name a park or a street or something in her name. So our students got to go down and got to speak on her behalf in front of the commission down at City Hall, which was another great opportunity for the kids who were involved in that. We had Democracy Tour here. Democracy Tour was a huge success. We partnered with Darrell High School and with Washington High School. Darrell brought about 250 students over. Washington brought about 150 students over. We had about 300 kids in the gym all together. Mayor Dickens came out to really, talk to our students about voting, the importance of voting, the importance of registering to vote and actually carrying out that civic duty, not just now, but throughout the rest of their life. So that happened as well. I spoke to you a little bit about our dual enrollment classes. I was able to check in on them, talk to the professors. Our kids are doing well. For the students who are in those classes, they're doing pretty well thus far. And so happy about that's going pretty well. Let's see. Think. Oh, and then we're taking a group of students to Tyler Perry Studios next week. Two big trips next week. We're taking all of or most of our juniors and seniors to the Rialto, which is a district funded trip for fine arts. So that trip will happen next week. And then through our CTAE department, our audiovisual, Ms. Somerville is taking a group of students to Tyler Perry Studio. So those experiences, when you're a student and you say, I'm in an audiovisual class, it's more than just being in the lab here at school, but it's actually getting out into the field and having that exposure. I think is second to none. And so I'm all about partnership and I'm all about exposure for our students. So any opportunities that we have to take our students and have them see and feel different opportunities, we're all for. Of course, we have Google, and we take our students down to Georgia Tech and Big Brothers, Big Sisters once a month. And so it's something, we want to have something for everybody. Everybody isn't a Google scholar, but if you like fine arts, you can go to the Rialto. For students that want to go to college, we have several college tours that we'll be able to take them on. So it's something for everybody, and that's the beauty about Mays High School, in my opinion, is that the opportunities for exposure are really second to none, in my opinion. I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Principal Garner. Does anyone have any announcement?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry, before announcements, Rejoice has here's the cluster advisory team report.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Really quick, I'll just explain what we went over for the cluster advisory team and the priorities that the cluster itself will be talking and speaking to when we have the strategic plan meetings with the cluster, and then also cross-cluster collaboration talks. So there were two priorities that we submitted to APS for the cluster advisory team that we will focus on this year. The first is literacy, which we also mentioned earlier in the call, that being a focus this year. And one of the things for literacy that we will specifically use as a strategy is family engagement. There were a lot of folks on the call that mentioned how much family engagement would help sort of be that co-pilot for the teacher and sort of what they're trying to do in the classroom to increase literacy rates. The second priority of the CAT, the cluster advisory team, is special education, also with the focus of family engagement as one of its strategies. And I think the special education piece was realizing that sometimes the special education department and team doesn't get as many resources, or maybe some of the best practices can be shared amongst the different clusters to help strengthen each individual school's special education department. And then also what we did is basically just plan out the different meetings for the rest of the year, the timeframes in which we would meet, and the general session topics. So when we have the general session with the other cluster meetings, we will discuss special education support, literacy, family engagement strategies, and best practices, both quantitatively and qualitatively. Resources moving forward that were maybe paused, now that have been paused with district implementation, and then funding, other ways, external ways that we can raise money for the resources that teachers and students need. So that's my report from the cluster advisory team. Oh, also, can I say one more thing? This weekend will be the race, which is the largest 5K half marathon, Black-led, woman-led here in Atlanta. So if you guys are out in the South side area of Atlanta, kind of goes all the way through the Beltline, please come out. There'll be over 2,100 global runners, and we have a volunteer team from Mays that are coming out, the cross country team.
Mays will be
and
there.
So, yeah, Mays will be there. They'll be representing and experiencing community and getting some more light on Mays and what everyone here is doing. That's so amazing. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Now we will move to the announcement portion of our agenda. Does anyone have any announcements?
I'm sorry, I couldn't figure how to get off the mute. This is Miss Smith. Hey, everybody. So I do have two announcements. The first announcement is I will be facilitating a IB parent meeting on Thursday at 6 p.m. It'll be a virtual meeting, and it is for all 10th grade students and parents. So if you are a parent of a 10th grade student at Meigs High School, I need you on this meeting to discuss something that is required for all of our 10th grade students. Okay. First announcement. Second announcement, it is Hispanic Heritage Month. And so we're having our annual IB night, which is next Tuesday, October the 8th. I am inviting you guys to please come out, whether you have a student at Meigs or not. It's going to be amazing. We're going to talk about IB. We're going to have performances from our Hispanic Heritage Club. And then students and parents will be able to participate with teachers and do fun activities. And then we're going to end with some delicious food, right? So please come out. We're trying to build community with our parents and all stakeholders. So this is my official invitation, October the 8th, 5 p.m. I hope to see you there.
Please come out, everybody. Just as many people as we had at the grandparents. We need our parents. When we talk about engagement, we need everybody there. Please come out to next week.
Oh, wait, I forgot one more thing. Sorry. And for the IB night next week, parents, students can get community service hours for that. Okay. So there are QR codes around the building. So please remind your student. I have some seniors I know who still don't have the hours that they need. So if they can come out, meet with me at 4 o'clock, they will get community hours for attending and supporting that event.
Awesome.
I have
Mr.
an announcement.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to invite everybody on behalf of the City of Atlanta and Mayor Andre Dickens in the Office of Constituent Services. Season 7 of Midnight Basketball will begin October 3rd for those of you who have students. Registration is still open for a lot of the teams. It's going to take place on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. at the C.T. Martin Recreation Center. This is a way to get kind of our scholars off the street at night and into doing something well. They'll have vendors, haircuts, employment services, all that good stuff. So I want to, this is my official invite on behalf of the City of Atlanta, for you can come out and watch. There's free food. Like I said, haircuts, vendor services, all that good stuff. Just to get, if you're working at night, need somewhere for your teens to go, definitely have them come to the C.T. Martin Recreation Center on Tuesdays and Thursdays, beginning at 7 p.m.
All right, time.
Remind me, we need to get that on the website. If there's a flyer or
Yes.
something,
There is a flyer.
Yes.
Mhm.
yeah, get that on the website.
KJ, that's so amazing. That's one of the best things I've ever heard come out of the mayor's office, like any mayor. So
Yeah,
kudos to
season
that.
7. So we've
Okay.
been going at this for a few
Wow.
years now. It's getting
Okay.
bigger. We always have celebrity guests. We have radio stations broadcasting live. It's a good time. I go just to
Yeah.
go. So
Nice, nice. So good. Okay. Thanks for sharing that.
absolutely.
I have one question for the Thursday IB parent meeting for 10th grade parents. Is the meeting link going to be posted on the school site?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, I'll be sending you'll get the communication for that before I leave today. It'll just go out to all 10th grade families, but yes, it'll be on the website, the link for it.
Okay, thank you.
Also, football game, come out this Friday if you can, 7:30. We're playing Maynard Jackson, who is undefeated. So it'll be a huge game. We play at Henderson Stadium, 7:30. So come out, support the Raiders. Softball senior night is this Thursday here at the school, 6 p.m. So come out, support our girls as we celebrate our seniors for senior night. And due to the weather, of course, we had to postpone our homecoming football game. We'll have a pep rally this Friday, but the homecoming football game will actually be played during the break on Thursday, October 17th, if I'm not mistaken, at 7:30 at Lakewood. 7 p.m. I'm sorry, at Lakewood Stadium against Forest Park. So I wanted to give you those announcements as well.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And just a quick announcement. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just one quick announcement from the GoTeam office. Due to the weather, we had to postpone the G3 Summit. And right now, the new tentative date is Saturday, January 11th. So we're just going to let everybody get through the fall semester. And we are excited to be able to offer the summit right before you get into budget.
Right.
So please mark your calendars for Saturday, January 11th, and we hope to be able to see you there.
Yep.
You're muted, Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you. Our next GoTeam meeting will be Tuesday, November 12th.
And we had no signups. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, we didn't have any signups for public comment at this meeting.
Okay.
And the next meeting is open for public comment as well on November 12th.
Got it.
We have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time?
You guys are doing great. I'm just so happy. You guys are doing great. Just so
Thank you,
good.
Ms. Jones. You are always
Mhm.
so positive. Thank you.
It's
We
the
need that
truth. Even
energy.
in corporate boardrooms, they're not getting as much as you guys are getting done. You guys are doing more with less, and I just want you to remember that.
Thank you, Ms. Joyce.
I appreciate it. Yep.
May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I
A second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions, please raise your hand. Okay, this GoTeam meeting is officially adjourned at 6:32 p.m. Thank you, you all. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Appreciate you. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Principal Gardner, did you have any questions or need anything from the GoTeam office?
No, ma'am. Just
Okay.
off to a
And
good
Miss
start.
Kirkpatrick, you can stop streaming if you would like.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Okay.
No, we're